All right, so I want to show you two things now. So I've taken the center core out of these breeze blocks, and I think you should all take a pass at either doing this manually or at least if you use the unroll command, connecting them back at the edges and just laser cutting with dashed lines. So let me continue to unroll this a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean. The other thing I want to cover is showing you how to do a camera and target. Was anyone able to attempt that? Okay, so I'm going to continue going along this edge. What happened? Jonathan, what happened? This is recording, just be quick. You could answer me then. Okay, I'm going to continue going this way. But this drawing is due. This is one of the requirements. So what did you all do for this drawing? Like for the unrolled drawing, did you just for this drawing here, unrolled laser cut drawing showing fold lines. What did you do for this? And then you just piece them together?
No, I didn't explode them.
And they stay together? All right, let's take a look. All right, so I can do that. All right, and then this edge connects to this edge. All right. All right, look, it took us 3 minutes, 55 seconds to do this. All right, so we can do two things. Let's look at this in the top view. Again, we can type duplicate mortar, and that gives us all the lines that we need to laser cut. And now we have overlapping borders, right? So we want to explode all these and just go through and delete each one of the overlaps. Okay, I'm going to make all the fold lines red. By the way, how long did the laser cutter training take you to do with Mike? An hour? And how could you do that? In how large of groups could you do that? Okay, this is like what you need. Yeah. And then how big is this? The laser cutter bed is 18 by 32, right? So the interior you could cut as a single piece. If you join it, it's going to change all the properties, so better to group it. But this is one of the drawings, so here's the interior. Okay, so you should be able to fit that. The other one I would unroll and at least break it into pieces. So unroll the whole thing, and then if you can only fit parts of it onto a single sheet, do that. But try to leave some pieces connected with these dashed lines, so that when you laser cut this, you'll be able to just fold it, and it'll help things stay lined up and connected. Yeah?
So if we already made it and we didn't make it like that, do we just redo the
No.
drawings or just do it?
The drawings, yeah. Did you already do the drawing? Well, what did you do?
It's just my laser cut sheet with how I arranged pieces and numbers.
Yeah, the goal, I was thinking it would be more like you know, like this. Like the thing unrolled and connected. Look, the goal is for you to understand this. This would be a little easier for you to fabricate. Some of you are having problems lining things up and losing which one is numbered. This way you don't even really need to number them. You know that each one is connected to the one it needs to be connected to. So just a little pro tip for you. So try that if you haven't finished it. And moving forward in the future, try this. It's going to make your life a lot easier. So what happens if we just do unroll and don't explode the thing? Unroll surface. Explode no. Labels yes. Hello. What happened? This is what it gives you? Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. Let's do it again. See, what's the problem here? You have some overlapping planes, right? So you can't do that. So you'll need to break this and kind of reposition it. It gets a little confusing here. It's not that much more time. You saw it took me about 3 minutes to unroll that thing. So I think you might just want to go through the process of manually doing it. Yeah, true. You could split it first and then unroll each half. However you want to do it. But try to be smart about how you're doing this. Don't create messes for yourself. I'm also less clear about which edge here goes where, and I have to line it up with the model, which I can do. But the other one, I know if I kind of roll it up this way, it should all fit together. Anyway, so play around with that. I do think it's a more interesting drawing to look at anyway. But let's play around with the idea of the target and the camera. And this will segue into rendering, which we'll do in the next exercise. So for this one, I'm just going to copy this over here.
I have a question. For the outside, we do the same thing to roll it, or do we do the same thing?
What is the question?
For the outside, we do the same thing we did for the inside, or we can do like a roller,
I think yes. Is that a yes/no question? I don't understand the two options. What is it?
There's no two options. Like, we do the same thing, or we...
Yeah, you have to laser cut it, so you need to unroll it flat, right?
Okay, but I can unroll it like just separate pieces, or you want me to do the same thing?
You can do whatever you want. And clearly, what I'm saying is it's going to make your life easier so you avoid some issues like this. If you keep some of these things connected as you cut them. So instead of cutting each one into it, then have to figure out which way to rotate each piece. That can be a nightmare late at night. So if you leave some of them connected, or use the numbering system, that will help you. But I think connecting things, it just takes a lot of the guesswork out. Barbara, does that make sense? So let's take a pass at trying to be precise with our views. Okay? So I'm going to rotate this thing in 3D so that I'm looking at it as if it's like that. So if I draw a perspective of this, this is kind of here's the back side of it. So if I set view and go to the back instead of the front, this is not a bad view, but it's really an elevation. And maybe with something oblique, like our cut through this opening, we want to be able to look more particularly like through it. The way I would pick this up and kind of look through it, right? So if you want to set up a particular view, and this will help you when it comes to, establishing your exact perspective points. Like maybe we want to be over here, and say that instead of 12 inches tall, why don't we make this thing like 8 feet tall? Let's make it 12 feet tall. And I'm just going to do this for like human dimension proportions. Let's rotate this thing over on its edge. All right, this looks pretty good. Okay, so say I want to like stand over here, and I want to be able to look up through this punch in this very thick building. Like say this is a building like Architectonica's. Architectonica's high-rise downtown with a hole punched through it. But this is a more complex aperture that I want to be able to maybe look through it like this. So maybe I want to set my camera. I can either just do this, like navigate around, and then I can set the view. Right, I can go set view, named views, and I can click on the save button and type, unique perspective 1. And I can save it. Okay, see it there. And now I can move around, and when I drop back down, I can always refer back to it. Set view, I want to go back to unique perspective 1, and it takes me back there. And so I could, do a make 2D of this, but say I want to kind of get inside here and be a little more precise about where I'm standing. I want to show you how to do that. So the first thing I want to do is draw a series of lines. Like say I want to stand, I don't know. Let's try something like this, like maybe 6 feet away. Let's say 10 feet away. Okay, so this is 10 feet from that corner. And how tall am I typically? Yeah, 6 feet is a little taller than me, and maybe taller than you. It's not taller than Delvis. Where's Delvis? The big house is 3.5 Delvises tall, we figured out. Set the right side. Okay. So a lot of times, yeah, you might set it at 5 or 6. Let's say 5.5 feet. Okay, it's a 5.5 footer. So you're 5'6". So say I want to look through this point. Like this is the exact point I want to look at. And this is if I'm standing up. Say I want to sit in a chair. So let's put a little globe here just for reference. Okay, so that's my standing height. Okay, but say I want to be sitting in a chair right here, because maybe I want to be lower. So maybe I'll look, like how tall am I sitting here? I'm probably maybe 3 feet, 3.5 foot tall, something like that, 4. So let's draw another target. let's say 3 feet, which I think is going to help us. Okay. All right, so from here I can see a little better up to there. And anyway, I want to show you how to place a camera there. So what we're going to do is on this drop-down menu, we're going to go to Set View, Set Camera. All right, so we're going to place our camera, and we're going to do Place Camera and Target. Okay, so I'm going to click that. It's going to say New Camera Location. I'm going to put it here. And now I clicked, it asked me for my target location. So I want to look right there. You see that? It gives me that exact view. Now I can save this view again. So I can click here and click Save As. It'll overwrite it. Yeah? Do I want to replace it? Yes. Okay. So I could also name this view Perspective Sitting, something like that. And to demonstrate the difference, let's do another one. So let's go Set Camera, Place Camera and Target. So let's look at it from up here. And let's do the same target location. And let's set this view. Let's go to Named Views again. Where you want it to look.
Okay.
Yeah. Perspective Standing. The other one is like Perspective Sitting. Okay. And so, maybe I want to be even a little closer. Let's make one more. And maybe we want to move this over. So I'm going to move this over. This is 8 feet. I'll move it over 3 feet. And I'm going to move my seated camera. I'm just going to move it in. I was out 10 feet. Let me move it in 5 feet. Okay? So this one should give me, move it over a little more. Yeah, I think that would be a pretty nice view. All right, so let's try it again. So one more, we'll do a third. Set Camera, Place Camera and Target. So it says New Camera Location. Can you see it up there? New Camera Location. I'm going to click here. Again, you don't have to model these spheres. It's just so I can have an easy reference point. And that says New Target Location. And I'm going to pick right there. Okay. Would you say it's the same? It's a little different. Okay. So let's make another one. Perspective Crouching. Okay, so now as I toggle through these views, here's this one, I think standing. Let's do, that was sitting. Here's standing, slightly different. Crouching. Okay? And if I want to get even closer for like an interior perspective, like let's put the camera inside. I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to scale this so like it's a little longer. You all know the scale command. So if I type scale and I type 2, it makes the whole thing uniformly 2 times as big. If I do scale 1D, here's my origin point. Oop. Scale 1D is basically stretching, so it only scales in 1 dimension. So if I want to make this, currently this is 6 feet. So say I want to make it 12 feet. I'll just draw a line 12 feet. And I'm going to select all this. type scale 1D. I'm going to go from the origin point to a reference point and then click to here. Okay. Alright, so what I want to do now, I want to place a camera target like right in here. So I'm going to draw a line from this midpoint. I'll show you where I drew it. Straight up, maybe just 3 feet, maybe 2 feet. So you see I clipped it on the midpoint of this edge, so I'm going to be standing like right here, looking up through here. And maybe I want to make my target, instead of the bottom edge of this, I want to make it the middle of the frame. So I'm just going to draw a line from here to here. And now I know if I make that my target, I'm going to be looking dead down the middle. Okay? So let's do it one more time. Set camera. Place camera and target. So here's our new camera location. And there's our target. Okay? And if I drop the view a little bit, that'll give me a little bit more. Maybe I'll do that. Let me set it one more time. Set camera. I'm going to go to the midpoint of this line. That's the midpoint of this line. There, that's like a pretty good view, right? It's a little bit more precise. Now, I can save this view, and then I'll show you how we can change the perspective a little bit. Okay, these will become useful. Play around with this and just try to make one for Wednesday. But we'll call this interior perspective.
You want us to make that view make 2D and we have all those lines?
Yeah.
No caption.
No caption?
No caption, like, you know.
Oh, screen capture?
Yeah.
You could if you want.
Okay.
You could render it. I mean, look, we could go like...
I think it would look better with caption.
We could do a rendered view, shaded view. I'm going to show you, we'll do a make 2D and I'll show you what happens. Did you try this? Did anybody try this? It's a little nuts what happens, but before we do that, let's look. So viewport properties. Again, remember 50 millimeters. I think that is like how the human eye sees. But we can make it a much more wide angle. So if we do 28, you see we get a more expansive perspective. And so we could do that, and then we can come back here and go back to set view, name views, and we can interior perspective save, so it's going to save it like that. So it overwrites it now, so it's going to keep those camera properties. It's going to keep it as a wide angle. And if I toggle back to it, if I lose it, I can just go set view, interior perspective. Okay? So let's try something. So yeah, we've been doing make 2D, dimension make 2D drawing. So here's the thing. We've always like done a make 2D looking at an object like in its entirety. So don't freak out when this happens, but let me show you what happens. So dimension, make 2D, show hidden lines. All right, let's show the hidden lines. All right, so we're going to go to our top viewport. Oh, it's not bad actually. All right, so it's something like that. You may want to export the lines. Often what we'll do when we render things is like if you see, this is a rendered view against a white background, but we overlay the lines on top of that. Let me see if I have another rendering. You see how the lines are there? So we're like rendering it, but then we bring the lines in and put it on top. You can kind of see the lines here. It helps give it edge definition. So I would export the lines and then maybe take a screenshot. Why don't we do it real quick? Let's export these to CAD. The point is we don't need all of these lines, right? Like we're going to zoom in and it's going to be cropped wherever we need it. I'm surprised some of these aren't hidden. Okay, so we exported that to CAD. Let's open it up. The other thing we'll do is we'll go back to this view and we'll take a screenshot of this. Or we'll just set it to a rendered view. Okay? And we can take a screenshot of this. We could also render it, but for now maybe just try something like this.
It's so black on that one side.
What's that?
Like it's so black on one of the sides, you have no idea what's happening there.
Yeah, I'm going to show you how to lighten this up in Photoshop. Okay, so there's one thing we can do. We can also try to do ghosted. And if we wanted to do a quick render, let's do a render preview. Where's my rendering? Give me a similar render. But let's try to save this. Put it on the desktop. Alright, so I saved it as a JPEG. I'll show you how to play around with the renderings soon enough. But let's open this. Alright, and so you all remember how to bring in a raster image. So we go Insert, Attach. Let's try the screenshot first. Okay, so I'm going to bring this in. Uh-oh.
Don't drag it, just click it.
This is new. Whoa. Okay, one thing I like to do when I'm trying to line up the image is I'll take this. I think we went over this a little bit. Under Properties, I can fade this out a little bit. So if I click on Fade, it basically makes it like a little transparent. so that I have an easier time with this. If I type Control C, it copies it. And if I type Control Shift V, what?
I just do copy selection, just like the right click. And then it allows you to pick the point you want.
No, but that's not what I was saying. What I'm saying is these are all not grouped. So if I right. What are you saying, Lila? You right click?
You want to group them together?
No. What were you saying?
Oh, I was saying like to move, like to copy it, I just do copy selection, because then you can choose the point you want to copy.
Right, but I don't want to just copy. I can copy this. But then again, they're still all exploded. So what I can do, if I just highlight this,
Like Control C and Control V. Copy and paste.
well, Control V is paste, but I want to paste as a block. So Control Shift C, Control Shift V. So it'll paste it, and now they're all grouped. Okay, which saves me time for like moving this around later. Okay, and now I can try to scale this so that it lines up with this. AutoCAD is a little more awkward and clumsy to scale with. You first have to here, let's line these things up in the corner. I don't know if this will work. Did I lose my lines? Here we go. So you first have to click here. Then you want to type R or click on this reference. Specify reference length. I think this is the end of it. There we go. Okay, so those line up now. Alright, so even this part that's dark that we can't see what's going on, the line should allow us to see it better. So if we make a layout, alright, I'm going to go with monochrome. I'm going to set this to PDF. Does this make sense to everybody? You all feel you could do this? So this would be a quick way for you to like set up a view from Rhino that you could use as an interior perspective. Okay. And then we can go output, preview. Okay, we'll get something like that. And we could take off the fade if we click back in here. We go to properties. Once we have it in place, how do I select that, guys?
Select everything and deselect the ones.
How do I do that?
Select little
Control, right? Shift? There we go. Let's do this. Okay, so we can put this back. Okay. All right, here we go. So if we output, preview. Where's my lines? There we go. Okay. There we go. All right. Try to do this. Set up a view looking through your block. We have some basic lighting information. It's a quick approach. I'll show you how to render these later next week. But for Wednesday, build these, export an interior view like this. And does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Take a pass at this, all right? Julia, you think you can do this? Yes. Alberta? All right, guys. See you Wednesday. Let's meet Wednesday in the courtyard of PCA, all right? All right, great. Uh-oh.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I was trying to unfold this, like you were showing us earlier, but I don't know how to get like the pieces to like fit all together.
Did you lose your mouse? Let's see.